then there are some fiber crafts that are not quite so common. This is tatting. In Victorian England, ladies of quality would sit in their parlors with their tatting shuttle and tat, making pieces that turned into buttonholes or trim on the petticoat or trim on a handkerchief or
is it lace?
it's lace. Tatting is considered a lace by everyone except bobbin lace makers. Bobbin lace makers say no, it's tatting, it's not lace. Today, tatting is more or less things like this little butterfly could be put on stationery or on a shirt or something.
Okay. Decorative,
not really functional. It can go on pillowcases.
Really?
Obviously the pillowcase died. They do that. Can go on slips.
Oh.
And now my grandparents, both my grandmothers were born in 1876.
Okay.
They wore this stuff. They made this stuff, they wore this stuff. I make this stuff and then I put it in a box. But this is another kind of tatting shuttle. They were also in Victorian times made of things like bone, ivory, gold, silver, because it was a status symbol. But tatting is one of the least expensive and most portable of the fiber crafts because all you really need is one shuttle and some yarn. It doesn't take a lot. It doesn't have to be white. Modern tatting can be colored or white, and it's very portable compared to this.
Mm-hmm.
Even the spinning the crochet, you have to have a container and you have to have all the parts you need, including instructions. And then the final thing I want to show is bobbin lace.
Oh.
Bobbin lace you would recognize from the portraits of the kings and queens and royalty in Europe in the Renaissance. And just so you know, during it became very, very common and very, very popular in the Renaissance, and pieces of lace were inventoried in the royal inventories and valued, and lace has always been, bobbin lace has always been more valuable per pound than gold. That's true today too, but now this weighs virtually nothing. So think how much you would have to have a pound, and a pound of gold is a little tiny briquette.
Right.
So yes, it's very valuable, but it also takes forever. It's also very slow. You have a pattern that this is what it's going to look like. This is the instructions.
Oh.
And this is the chart, and you need all of them. These are for the straight edge here that I'm doing now. This was when I get down to here and turn the corner. And I'm sorry you can't really see that, but the bobbins have to stay in order. If you drop it and mess it up and get them twisted, you might as well cut it off and start over.
Oh my.
Because the pattern and the arrangement of all of this is very specific. Bobbin lace was originally made in cow sheds on a loft over the cows with something called a Frankel lantern, which was a prism light, candle light, not light. And of course, the bobbin lace makers were young women who usually had tuberculosis by the time they were 30, because unheated cow sheds with the conditions of making lace, which is linen, were very difficult. They had to first collect the linen, spin it to this size thread. Oops, where is it? I get a verified there. This one is silk, but this is the size. This one is linen, which you see is even finer.
It is fine.
And this would be much more priced even than the silk, even though the silk is valuable. Lace made with this would be approximately 2/3 the size of this. The pricking would be much smaller, and this linen would make something 2/3 this size.
Wow.
So, fiber throughout the ages has always been growing and discovering, and nobody really knows when any of it started. There were something called now binding, N-A umlaut, and sometimes a second A umlaut, L binding, that was a precursor to knitting, but they don't know when that was done either. They have found it in Egypt, they have found it in Scandinavia, but because it's a natural fiber, it doesn't last very well, and people don't really know the history of these things. But fascinating, and as I say, all of these are natural fibers, or blends of natural fibers. There's a whole other world of synthetic fibers. Okay.
All right. Well, Linda Bryant, gosh, thanks so much for this excellent history lesson and showing us your tatting. It's so interesting. I never realized it was almost like creating a little loom with pins and a cushion and then weaving the tiny threads around. Gosh, how labor intensive is that?
It's very labor intensive, yes.
I can't imagine many people today are doing tatting. Maybe we could do another video to show the process of it.
We can do a video, and I can show tatting. We can do a video, probably in the same video, and I can show bobbin lace.
Oh, bobbin lace,
yeah,
forgive me.
Yeah, this one is bobbin lace. These are the bobbins, and of course, I believe the first knit chat was with Don, and no, the second one with his handmade needles. Well, bobbins had the same tradition, but now, of course, there's the status involved in fancy bobbins, and these are not my fanciest bobbins, but they're not plain sticks either.
No, they certainly aren't. They're very interesting artifacts.
Mm-hmm.
And we thank you for showing us your expertise on Knit Chat and look forward to future episodes.
Thank you very much for having me, and we'll enjoyed it very much.
We'll see you next time.
Okay.
Come see us at the Alpine Public Library for Yarn Arts every Friday from 9:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. For a limited time, we will be offering upcycled yarn storage containers made by Vicki Ellis. Hope you can come by and say hello and grab your storage container for your knitting project today.